Now look, you know me. I don't want to be disparaging against women or anything, but that bitch sounds crazy. She is going to send your sex tape to your grandmother. I promise you.
2 minutes to the witching hour. Let's check in on our Superstation 66 electric eye in the sky for our traffic report. Duncan, how's it looking out there?
Oh, Jesus, God, no!
Alright then. This next one's going out to Ted and Annette Fleming for their 49th anniversary. Now you kids do a little stretching before those Venetian blinds get closed tonight, if you know what I mean. This one's going out to you. Here's some Sacrifice.
Shit, fuck up a stream.
Hey, what are you gonna say?
For this video.
Yes, I was wondering, do you have any videos of two pigs fucking a shit and then pony?
God.
Hey, listen, man.
Ask him, does he have pledge night?
I'm asking him, goddammit. Hold on. Fozzek wants to know, do you have pledge night with Joey Belladonna in it?
Yeah, man, we got that. Hold on, let me see if it's in there.
Yeah, man, because we're going to have a screening of that. What time do you get off?
I get off around midnight.
Oh, you should definitely come over, man. It's going to be a hoot and a holler.
Well, what'd he say?
It says it's here. Hold on one sec.
Yes, he's got it.
Marvelous.
Two minutes later. We need a love tonight. We need a love tonight.
Hey.
Oh, hey, what's up?
Dad's here.
Oh, man, fantastic. You just made our semester.
Well, ask him getting home before.
Can you put it on hold for us, man?
Okay, later. Okay, kids, so tonight we have got a new segment for you. We're going to take a look at ANTHRAX Discography tonight. We're going to pick 3 of their albums, and then we're going to divide them up into 3 categories, alright?
Handsome Karl, I don't mean to bother you, but, you want to get your ass over here?
Hey, man, don't worry about it. I'm down to my last man.
Okay, we started the show, but we'll start. Okay, I'm killing Stomp 442. I mean, it's bad enough that the family broke up, but now Mom's got her new boyfriend moving in, and he's an even bigger asshole. Poster Vana Landscape, Metal is terminally uncool, Dan spits quits to make fucking high-end watches, the band is seemingly into Helmet a lot, and the only hope of somewhat metallic resuscitation is Dimebag Darrell by proxy. It's a disastrous mess that was almost self-sabotaging, and especially after the leaps and bounds that they made with Sound of White Noise. And what pisses me off the most is that it proved a lot of people's point about Anthrax never ever really having any self-esteem, and how they use humor and pop culture nerdiness for the uninitiated as a form of defense mechanism. God damn, I was fine with all those things. Where's my Anthrax? This is not Anthrax, this is Panthrax in Chains era.
Hey, Joey, hand him some tissue, would you? Goddamn, Stomp 442 is Night at the Opera compared to Volume 8. Scott and company are seemingly in their 40th year of wandering the desert of the mid-1990s. A Chinese buffet of an album that desperately throws a fistful of chow mein against the wall, hoping that its new metal-twinged country wigger slam is gonna stick to something. Anything. Christ.
I didn't hate it.
Well, that's because you're a fucking idiot. At least 442 was heavy. At the very least, it sounded like a band. This sounds like a compilation of Soup of the Day sounds, played by a legendary, influential band that clearly felt it was cool to tuck it between their legs and pogo stomp aimlessly with a sea of flanneled amateurs.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's nothing worse than seeing the smart kid pretend to be stupid to gain the respect from the morons in the back of the class. I'll give you that.
Ha! No surprise that the Crypt Keeper and the Mummy here have a problem with experimentation and musical growth. Boys, State of Euphoria is a tired and tacky album of recycled ideas from a band that still wants to sell back patches to arcade rats, and yet oh so desperate to get love from the still disapproving New York hardcore scene and Bones Brigade. Pick a fucking side.
But that's what made them special, man. Being from the East Coast, Anthrax grew up smack dab in the middle of the melting pot of 70s punk, funk, disco, and hip-hop.
Their sound was...
But I wanted to go to the Tashi station to pick up some power converters. Listen to yourself. Their sound is rushed, incomplete, and a Mort Drucker caricature of the Among the Living era. Seriously, by 88, Metallica's at their most dark and depressing. Slayer slows it down to a funeral dirge, but still manages to sound even more evil. Megadeth is tweaking on regret, envy, and speedballs, and then these fucking fun boys come out in their pajamas and Garbage Pail Kid sticker guitars on a stage that looks like there is a distinct possibility that the Hamburger is going to rob them of their Happy Meal hamburgers.
You know what? God forbid someone have a good time at the party. God forbid someone dress appropriately for the sweltering cardio of mid-80s thrash. Alright, you negative Nancy's. Let's get greasy here. As far as fucking goes, I can't think of a better dance partner than the blinding speed of Fistful of Metal. It's everything that my long-lost damn soul will forever swim in. Blatant new wave of British heavy metal Motorhead worship that falls somewhere beautifully between the pavement cracks of pre-screaming defenders. Vocalist Neil Turbin is ludicrously operatic. He's yelping and wailing perfectly like a composite milkshake of the best, or worst, depending on your perspective, of every new album vocalist before him, Jag Panzer. It's a power that's unmatched by any Anthrax vocalist to follow. Musically, it toes the company line what they were doing out west with Show No Mercy and Kill 'Em All.
It sounds like a sped-up Man-O-War cassette that's being chewed up in a tape deck.
Now you say that like it's a bad thing. Thematically, the album, its title, subject matter, and lyrics are straight from a module from any second edition D&D campaign. The album was produced by Carl Kennedy of the Rods, and while we're on that note, I'm going to pull a mulligan here because the two go hand in hand. 83 Soldiers of Metal 7-inch produced by Ross the Boss of Man-O-War. No. Fistful of Metal is hardly marriage material. It's too youthful. It's reckless. It wants to go clubbing all the time. It's impervious to hangovers. It's got its whole life ahead of it. And it's a fucking hard body, and it excessively flaunts it with stamina and spades. Now you bear that in mind, people. You're way past that. You just want to crash in the basement, eat chips, and play NHL 94.
Boys, I am fucking persistence of time. You know you're in trouble when that meek-looking, happy-go-lucky kid that you picked on and ridiculed, he reaches that boiling point and he gets that look in his eyes and the glasses come off? Yeah, that's persistence of time. Fucking tired of constantly being scrutinized, nitpicked for being too experimental. Oh, they're too fun-loving. Oh, hey, they're a novelty act of musical dabblers. Well, fuck you, because the toys went away, the comics were all given to Goodwill, and a very blackened Anthrax emerged. This is a very serious, brutally uncompromising album, and to be honest with you, it's almost a little too serious. But it's a fan favorite without a doubt. After going gold, the huge success of the Clash of the Titans tour, their cameo in Married with Children, who the fuck saw what they did coming next? But hey, that's Anthrax. Hey, they don't play checkers, they play chess. They saw the move that needed to be made, and poor Joey got sacrificed in a 6-move checkmate that caused a big fucking ruckus before it all got drowned out by white noise.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, I just made that up.
Well, boys, for all mental, because I am definitely fucking the creative high point of the band's discography, Sound of White Noise. Prior to this album, the band had been perceived by the public as a novelty cover band with just a few originals. The success of I'm the Man and Attack of the Killer Bees EP, man, that did them no favors by selling well, if that makes any sense at all. Belladonna, whose melodic voice was once considered to be an asset to the band, now became a liability in the grungy climate of the early 90s. He was fired and replaced by the dirt road rasp of Armored Saints John Bush. Yes, signing to Elektra with their buds Metallica, dropping thrash and embracing grunge wholeheartedly, did in some ways make them seem like sellouts, but it was out of necessity, I suppose. The Alice in Chains-ish, gloomy Wednesday Addams vibe on this thing was a winning Anthrax formula for people who really weren't, well, Anthrax fans? No, you didn't marry this album. This album was a recent divorcee with a radical new haircut and makeover that just wanted to play the feel relevant again, while poor old Joey was left at home with the kids. A cheating bitch of an album, but yeah, there's no denying it looked good doing it. It's just too bad that the band's morning face didn't hold up in the natural lighting of Stomp 442.
Look, I don't give a shit if it's predictable and cliche. I'm marrying the belle of the ball, the come-home queen among the living. See, Anthrax accidentally stumbled into a sound that got them respect from the usually hostile and indifferent crowd, with that whole irreverent tongue-in-cheek crossover punk speed that they got from their side project SOD. Now this is 86, 87, the peak of US thrash, Metallica, Slayer, Megadeth, Testament, Overkill, etc. But what Anthrax did to distinguish themselves was they moved further away from New Album, and they ejected crossover punk to their sound.
You mean infecting?
You're a jackass. This is Charlie's album to shine. Frankie is unleashed. Scott's at his most crushing, with unusual song structures and riffs that never sacrifice the need for speed, but they're not afraid to slow down too for a recharge, before punishing you even harder again. Spitz, well, he keeps us well grounded in the tenets of classic heavy metal, but he erupts like a fucking Mentos and Diet Cake science fear volcano. Frenzied solos that are somewhere between genius and madness. Belladonna nails it and is still the band's greatest asset, but you kinda get the feeling that he's not entirely comfortable with this new direction, and at times he sounds like a goddamn auctioneer on a malfunctioning Tony Little Gazelle. You know, I suppose if I was going to say anything, Eddie Kramer's mixing sounds incomplete. It's almost like he was dismissive of this band, like he's still happily coasting on the pride fumes from his Hendrix years. It's also been said that this album peaks way too early and drains its listeners midway, but I found myself drawn to the B-side of this one.
Fucking A. Alternate take of One World on that deluxe album reissue? Man, Joey sounds like he has a chance to breathe on this version.
The horror of it all? Hands down the greatest outro ever recorded.
Ever.
Look, I'm a sucker for a good comeback story. For All Kings delivers the thrash goods, cutting out all the bullshit. There's a little bit of experimenting going on, but they don't lose touch with the Anthrax sound. Now, there's going to be a few people, admittedly, that are going to find fault with this, and they're going to complain that, they conceded, they're admitting fault, and they return to that tried and true sounds of yore. But for the most part, even Anthrax's biggest detractors, we're all rooting for them. No one liked how it all went down in 92. Look, man, the bottom line is New Coke didn't work. Simple. Sure, For All Kings is hardly fresh, but at least this one feels like an actual thrash album in their discography, and not some collection of singles written over the years with a revolving door of singers and guest guitarists. It's mature, it's sophisticated, and it's finally comfortable in its own skin, flaws and all. Goddamn right I'm gonna put a ring on that.
Oh man, without a doubt I'm marrying spreading the disease. Nice little picket fence, little garden out there in the back. See, Anthrax's greatest asset has always been their Achilles heel. Because while this band has and always will subscribe to the idea that the brutal mosh pit is also a thoughtful place of reflection, it's just too fucking cerebral for that 14-year-old alcoholic who lived to carve swastikas and dicks into his desk. And I'm going to agree with you that yes, Among the Living is a better thrash album. Spreading the Disease is the most traditional heavy metal hard rock album in their discography, the one least influenced by punk and the New York hardcore. Pounding, speedy riffs full of energy and aggression like you'd expect, but this one has a dynamical song structure. It just pushes and pulls.
You're so full of shit.
Fuck off. Scott's crushing rhythm, Dan's squealing leads juxtaposed against the unusual for thrash falsetto vocals of Joey Belladonna, that provided a surprising amount of melody, something that was far more of a staple of early 80s power metal. Sabotage, Fate's Warning. Now Joey's inclusion in this band transformed them into something far more interesting, far more diverse than a lot of their peers. Medusa, Lone Justice, Madhouse, Stand or Fall. Come on, Padre, get it over with, man. There's no questions asked. I do.
Not.
So I can't think of a better nightcap to all this than to end off with a screening of 1990's Pledge Night starring our very own Joey Belladonna. So this one, holy shit. Back in the 60s, a horrible initiation prank gone wrong ends in a brutal acid bath death of a hippie activist applicant, Sidney Schneider. 30 years later, Acid Sid returns from the grave to wreak gory vengeance on the same fraternity. Horribly lopsided, the first act comes off like a cheap Animal House Xerox with a fucking lot of ass play. This movie is obsessed with ass play. I can't emphasize that enough. And if you've always wondered if Anthrax is a cross
across the river would make a wonderful soundtrack to grown men passing frozen cherries ass to ass, look no further.
Belladonna is a C- vaudevillian era Freddy at best, and almost looks about as content to be in this shithouse classic than any heterosexual male in the history of time forced to do gay porn to settle gambling debts. Film post-State of Euphoria, supposedly Joey's drinking days, it was shelved and released to the direct-to-video market in 1990.
Look, as an Anthrax and Delete Bin Slasher fan, I can't recommend this film enough. And let me just say that this film pairs gorgeously with Cool Ranch Doritos and a head full of whippets.
That's it, that's all. Don't forget to give us a like and subscribe. But I mean only if you mean it. I don't want to put pressure on you.
You sound so needy.
Fuck, I know.